Hey people, hey fertility tribe. Hello fertility tribe. Welcome to my live stream. Welcome to the Fertility Formula. Today's topic is when is it important? When is it important to have a C-section? When is it important to have a C-section? When is it valid? When is it necessary to have a C-section? Let no one force you. Don't let anybody force you to have a C-section. If you've been advised to have a C-section, ask questions. Why? Ask why. Ask questions. Why you should have a C-section. At least you deserve an explanation. You deserve an explanation unless you actually want to have a C-section. Unless you decide you don't want to go through labor. Unless it's your personal decision. But if it's the hospital that's telling you that you need to have a C-section, then there are some important things you need to know. Why are you having a C-section? Why aren't you giving birth naturally? These are things you need to know. These are things you need to explain. Your healthcare provider needs to explain. So you have the right to know. You have the right to know because you have the right to informed consent. Sorry, you have the right to informed consent. So what are the valid reasons? What are the valid reasons? What are the important reasons to have a C-section? The number one important reason to have a C-section is called placenta previa. It's already on my board. Placenta previa. Placenta previa is a condition where the placenta is coming out before the baby. The placenta is in front and the baby is behind the placenta. In normal circumstances or under normal circumstances, the placenta is supposed to be behind the baby, not before the baby. So placenta previa means the placenta is blocking the cervix. The placenta is blocking the cervix. That is what it means. The placenta is blocking the cervix. That is what it means. The cervix is the entrance to the womb. The cervix is the entrance to the womb. It's also the exit route or route for the baby coming out. So when the cervix has been blocked by the placenta, it means that if you allow such a woman to go through natural labor, the placenta will be coming out before the baby, and that is a very dangerous situation. So you need to have a C-section in such a situation. A C-section is very urgent, very important, because the baby is supposed to be out before the placenta. The baby is supposed to come out before the placenta. So in a case where the placenta is coming out before the baby, it means there's going to be so much bleeding. It's dangerous for the baby and the mother. It's going to be dangerous for both the baby and the mother. So a C-section is important in this type of situation, in this kind of situation. Because I hear women saying, I want to have my baby like the Hebrew women. I want to have my baby naturally. But in case of placenta previa, in the case of a placenta previa, you have no choice but to have a C-section. You have no choice but to have a C-section so that at the end of the day you smile and you're carrying your baby and you're smiling. That's the ultimate. It doesn't matter if you had a C-section or you had a natural childbirth. The ultimate end goal, the ultimate and most important end goal is the mother and the baby are hale and healthy and happy. Yeah, that is the ultimate. So it doesn't matter if you had your baby like a Hebrew woman or you had natural, you had a C-section or whatever, just at the end of it all, you're carrying your baby. That's the ultimate. So placenta previa is one important reason to have a C-section. I've heard about placenta harvesting. I've heard about the deals, as in people, companies paying high amounts of money just to buy placentas from hospitals. Yes, I even have a video about that on my channel. So you can check my channel, you can scroll through my channel, you find that video where I was talking about placenta harvesting, where I was talking about placenta business, let me put it that way. Because many companies use placenta, the human placenta for skincare. For skincare. Many people use placenta for skincare. They use placenta for ailments. They use it as medicine for ailments like diabetes, type 2, I think, yeah, type 2 diabetes, and some other ailments. And then they use it, some companies use it, some skincare companies use it for skincare, for their products. They use it as raw material for their products. So they are ready to pay up to $50,000 for one placenta. They are ready to pay up to $100,000 for just one placenta. I hope you can hear me. I hope you can hear me. I hope I'm audible. Sorry. Excuse me. I hope I'm audible. I hope you can hear me. So they're ready to pay thousands of dollars for just one placenta. And the question is, the women who carry these placentas for 9 straight months. The women who carry these placentas for 9 straight months, are they aware? Hello, Technology Rules. Thank you for joining my live stream. Thank you for joining my live stream. Thank you so much. So the question is, the women who carry these placentas, are they aware of this $1 million brand deals? Because I think they need to know. You carry a placenta for 9 stressful months, and at the end of the day, a hospital is making thousands of dollars from your placenta without you being aware. You're not even aware of that. I think it's unfair, in my opinion. So you have the right to know. That's why I said, let no one force you. And the placenta that is derived, or how do I put it, the placenta gotten from a C-section has more value than the one you get through natural childbirth. Because according to experts, the one you get through natural childbirth is contaminated because it's gone through the vaginal canal. But the one you get through a C-section hasn't gone through the vaginal canal, and so it's of more value according to experts, and they are willing to pay $50,000, $100,000, even up to $500,000, depending on your bargaining power. Yeah. My question is, the women who carry these placentas for 9 stressful months, are they aware of this $1 million deals? Are they part of these $1 million deals? The woman who carry these placentas for 9 stressful months. Wow, that's exactly, that is much. So the women should be aware. That's what I feel. The women who carry these placentas should be aware of these $1 million deals with their placenta. So let no one force you to have a C-section when you don't even know why you're having a C-section. Ask questions when it's unclear. Ask questions when it is unclear. If you're just joining, you're welcome to the Fertility Formula. Welcome to my live stream. Please like, so that YouTube can spread this good news. Thank you. So the number one important reason to have a C-section is placenta previa. That is the placenta coming out before the baby. The placenta blocking the cervix. The placenta is blocking the cervix. The cervix is the entrance to the womb, the uterus. It is also the exit route for the baby coming out. So if it's been blocked by the placenta, it means the baby can't come out. In such a situation, a C-section is urgently needed. Now, another important reason to have a C-section is having multiple babies. Having multiple babies. That's another important reason you need to have a C-section. Multiple babies in terms of having twins, triplets, quadruplets, and so on. Having multiple babies. I've seen women who had twins and they had it naturally. I'm one of them. I have a set of twins. And I had my twins naturally. I've seen women with triplets naturally. They had their triplets naturally. But having multiple babies is one important reason to have a C-section. So women have 4, 5, even 6 triplets. You can't allow such a woman to go through natural childbirth. It has to be a C-section when the babies are multiple. Even twins, we've seen twins having C-section. So, but I've seen twins being born naturally as well. I'm a witness to that. I'm one of that. I've experienced that. So it all depends on the woman. It all depends. But having multiple babies is also an important reason to have a C-section. Now, another important reason to have a C-section is having a narrow pelvic. When you have a narrow pelvic, the pelvic region is the region around the lower abdomen. The region around the lower abdomen. And this region is the passage for the baby coming out at childbirth. That is the pelvic region. If the passageway is narrow, that is narrow pelvic. If it is narrow, then it means that it is the space is too small, too tiny, too narrow for the baby to be able to pass through. And in such a situation, then a C-section is important. Narrow pelvic area. If a woman has a narrow pelvic, then she needs to have a C-section. It is important for her to have a C-section because the pelvic area is how narrow or wide your pelvic area is depends on your skeletal system, the way your bones are formed around that area, and nobody can do anything if the bones around that area is narrow. If they are narrow, no doctor can do anything about that. So a C-section is urgently needed. The C-section is important in such a situation. Narrow pelvic. If you can hear me, please, can I have a yes? Can I have a yes if you can hear me? Hello, Dole Diamond. You're welcome to the Fertility Formula. Welcome to the Fertility Formula. Okay, you can hear me. Thank you so much. Thank you. Please like, so that YouTube can spread this live stream. Thank you. So, as I was saying, narrow pelvic, having a narrow pelvic. If you have a narrow pelvic, then you need to have a C-section. You need to have a C-section. I've heard women saying, I want to deliver like the Hebrew women. I want to have my baby naturally. I want to deliver like a Hebrew woman. So in such a situation, I ask, I'm like, well, it's a good thing. Nobody's saying that having a C-section is bad. It's not actually bad. C-section is here to save lives. C-sections are here to save lives for women who have these conditions I've been talking about. Placenta previa, multiple babies, having multiple babies, narrow pelvic region, narrow pelvic area. You need a C-section if you have such conditions, one of such conditions. Another reason to have, rather, another important reason to have a C-section is if the baby's head is large, if the baby's head is big, then it's going to be very difficult to have a natural childbirth, in that situation. If the baby's head is large, if the baby's head is big, you can't allow such a woman to go through natural childbirth. So a C-section is important. In that case, a C-section is very important if the baby's head is large. Hello. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for joining my live. Thank you for joining my live stream. Thank you. Welcome to the Fertility Formula. Welcome to the Fertility Formula. Thank you for joining this live stream. Please like and share. Like and share. Share, like and share, please, so that YouTube can spread out this good news. Thank you. Thank you. So as I was saying, if the baby's head is large, then a C-section is needed because it will look like a big head coming out of a small space. A big head. Can you just imagine it? A big head coming out of a small hole. That would be very, very dangerous if you allow such a thing to happen. So it will be dangerous for both baby and mother. It will be dangerous for both baby and mother if you try to force it, if you insist you want to have your baby naturally in such a situation. It is not advisable. So a baby with a big head, you need to have a C-section. It's important. That's why I said ask questions. Ask questions. When you've been told that you need to have a C-section, ask questions. Ask questions. Be sure that you understand exactly, be sure you understand exactly why you are having a C-section. So ask questions, please. Don't just take anybody's word for it. Ask questions. Now, the next reason, can you guys hear me? I hope you can hear me. I hope I'm not disconnected. Please, if you can hear me, can I have a yes, please? I hope my audio hasn't been disconnected. If you can hear me, can I have a yes? Thank you. If you can hear me, can I have a yes? Thank you. Hello, hello. Can anyone hear me? Am I still connected? Am I still connected? Okay. Thank you. Thank you. So another situation where it is important for you to have a C-section is when the mother or the baby is showing signs of tiredness, signs of exhaustion, maybe due to prolonged labor, or any other reason. Okay, okay, thank you. You can hear me. Thank you. Thank you so much. Please like, and share. Thank you. So another important reason to have a C-section is when the baby or the mother or both parties are showing signs of tiredness, signs of exhaustion, maybe due to prolonged labor or due to any other reason. The baby is tired or the mother is tired. That means she can't push. She can't push in such a situation. The baby is tired. It means the baby is no longer trying to come out. Then an urgent C-section is needed. An urgent one. This one is not even the one they tell you beforehand. This one happened when you are in labor. When you are in labor. As in this one is emergency C-section is needed in such a situation. When the mother gets tired, maybe due to prolonged labor or any other reason, or the baby gets tired, maybe due to prolonged labor too, or any other reason. Thank you. Excuse me. You're welcome to my live stream, Beatrice. You're welcome to my live stream. Thank you. You guys should please like, so that YouTube can spread this live stream. So, as I was saying, when mother and baby, or either mother or baby, or both are showing signs of tiredness, they are showing signs of exhaustion. Will I bleed for long after a C-section? No, no one bleeds for long after a C-section. You don't have to bleed for long. Bleeding for long means you are losing blood. That's why you need to go to a good hospital. You need to go to a good hospital. Bleeding for long is dangerous. A woman who just gave birth to a baby and you are bleeding for long, no. The doctors have their ways of reducing bleeding and stopping bleeding. You don't bleed for long, no. Because the wound, the cut is sewed back immediately after the baby and the placenta. After the baby and the placenta is brought out, they sew back immediately. So you don't need to bleed for long if you are using a good hospital. So please, always and always use a good hospital. Register for antenatal in a very good hospital where you know you have experienced hands, where you know you have experienced doctors. Don't just go to any hospital. This is your life at stake. So please and please, you don't have to bleed for long after a C-section. No, it's not done. It's not done. Okay. So you're welcome. You're welcome. Pregnancies. If I plan for future pregnancies, what is the likelihood of needing another C-section? Thank you for your question. Oh my God. What is the likelihood of having another C-section? That's what I'm talking about. Placenta previa. Do you have placenta previa? If it's your first pregnancy, if it's your first baby, and they're telling you you need a C-section, you're going to be having a C-section. Okay, listen to the doctor. Okay, why am I supposed to have a C-section? I want to have my baby naturally. But the doctor is saying no. Like I said, be aware that there's placenta harvesting, placenta high. Companies are willing to pay high just to get placentas from hospitals. So that's why I said be aware. Even if you don't have any, if even if you are cool about it, you don't have any problems about the hospital selling your placenta, at least you should be aware. You should also be compensated. That's what I'm saying. You should be aware that okay, a company needs my placenta for skincare, or a drug company needs it for making medication for medications, because it's a raw material for medication. Placenta is a raw material for medication. It's also a raw material for skincare. So skincare companies and drug companies go to do what you call placenta harvesting. They go to hospitals, pay thousands of dollars just to have placenta, the placenta from women. So my question is, these women who carry these placentas for 9 stressful months, be part of these deals. They're supposed to be part of it. You can't carry a placenta for 9 months. At the end of the day, one hospital is making millions of dollars from your placenta. I think you deserve a share in the deal. That's what I'm saying. So your question, Valerie, your question is for future pregnancies, you need a C-section. Why would you be needing a C-section? Number one, if it's your first pregnancy and the doctor is saying you need a C-section, ask questions. I've said it time and time again. Ask him why you need a C-section. Because it's your first pregnancy. If it's second, third, or fourth pregnancy, how did you have the first, second, and C-section in your first pregnancy? Why you have a C-section? It all depends on why you have a C-section. You had a C-section in your first pregnancy. Was it a situation of placenta previa? Was it because you had the placenta previa? If it's placenta previa, then this you don't have to have a C-section in your second pregnancy. You don't, unless it's another placenta previa case, unless it's another case of placenta previa. You can have placenta previa in your first pregnancy, and then in the second one, there's nothing like that, which means you can have your baby naturally. It doesn't mean that when you start with a C-section, you had your first child with a C-section, the rest have to be C-sections. No, it doesn't work that way. Some people believe that. Hello, Nkechi Okeke. Hello, welcome to my live stream. Thank you so much. Welcome. Please like this live stream and share. Thank you. So because you started with a C-section, you had your first baby with through C-section, doesn't mean you must continue that way. More than one. Okay. So because you had your first baby with through C-section, doesn't mean you have to continue that way. No. Some people believe that once you start with C-section, you must continue that way. No, unless your condition is natural, like it's natural, like what the other one I mentioned, a narrow pelvic. Narrow pelvic is due to the way your skeletal system is structured. That one is natural. No, there's nothing anybody can do about that. Then you can continue that way. You started with C-section, you can continue having C-sections for your all your other pregnancies. But if the reason is not natural, like placenta previa, multiple baby's head is large. If this baby's head is large, the second baby's head may not be that large, may not be as large as the first baby's head. So I want you guys to understand what I'm saying. If the first baby's head was large, the second baby's head may not be as large. So if you had the first baby with a C-section due to large head, the second baby may not come with a large head. Then you can have your baby naturally. So please, I want that myth or that mindset shift. That you started with CS doesn't mean you have to continue that way. No, it all depends on the condition, because every pregnancy comes with its own situations, comes with its own conditions, comes with its own style. Every pregnancy is different. No two pregnancies are the same, even in the same woman. Even in one woman, in the same woman, have different experiences for different pregnancies. Yeah. So how many have we talked about? We've talked about placenta previa. We've talked about multiple babies. We've talked about narrow pelvic. Excuse me. Mama. So what's next? Thank you. Excuse me, I have a slight cough. Sorry about that. So how many have we talked about? We've talked about placenta previa. We've talked about placenta previa. Excuse me, sorry about that. I have a slight cough. We've talked about multiple babies. We've talked about narrow pelvic. We've talked about large head baby. Okay, I hope I've answered all questions. Minute, I'll be right back. I'm back. I went to get a glass of water. Sorry for the break. I just had to take some water. So, as I was saying, thank you for the love. Thanks for waiting. Thanks for coming. Thanks for calling in. Thanks for stopping by. Thank you for stopping by. So I was talking about the fact that, excuse me, because you had your first baby through CS, through cesarean section, doesn't mean you need to continue that way. No. Doesn't mean you have to continue that way. It all depends on the reason for the first CS you had. It all depends on the reason. Why did you have CS? Is it because you had placenta previa? Is it because you had multiple babies? Excuse me, I'm coming. Just a minute. So is it because you had placenta previa? Or is it because you had multiple babies? Or is it because you have a narrow pelvic? Or is it because the baby's head was too large? So it all depends on the reason you had your first C-section. If the reason is natural, for instance, having narrow pelvic, like I said, your pelvic region is wide or narrow because of the way your skeletal system is structured. Excuse me. It depends on your skeletal system, the structure of your skeletal system. In such a situation, there's nothing any doctor can do. You need a C-section. So, but because you had your first baby through C-section, does not mean you continue that way. That's what I'm saying. Doesn't mean you continue that way. So it all depends on the reason for the first C-section. If the first C-section, your first pregnancy, you had placenta previa, that is the placenta blocking the exit route for the baby. The second one may not happen that way. The second pregnancy, you may not have placenta previa. So that's why I said ask questions. Go to good hospitals. Don't just go into any hospital you see on the road. Go to a very good hospital. Go to good hospitals. So that's it. Placenta previa. We've talked about placenta previa. We've talked about multiple babies. If you're just joining us, we've talked about placenta previa. The topic is, when is it important to have a C-section? You have the right to know. Don't let anybody force. My name is Beatrice. I'm a certified natural family planning expert. I'm also a coach, a mentor, a trainer, a consultant in the Department of Natural Family Planning, Natural Birth Control, Fertility Awareness, Women's Reproductive Health, Child Spacing, Natural Baby Sex Preselection. If you want your next baby to be a boy or a girl, it is possible. Natural baby sex selection. Excuse me, I'm an expert. I'm a natural baby sex selection expert. And the topic for today is, when is it important? When is it necessary? When is it valid to have a C-section? You have the right to know. And what are they doing with your placenta after the C-section? What are they doing with your placenta? Doliet diamond. How long does a C-section take? It all depends. It all depends on the doctor, the hospital, and their level of expertise. How well they know the job, how good they are on the job. It all depends. It's just like asking me how long does it take to cook jollof rice? It may take me 20 minutes to cook jollof rice. The same jollof rice will take another person 1 hour. So it depends on your level of expertise and how fast you are, how good you are in the job, how experienced the doctor is. Bottom line, go to a good hospital. I'll still keep saying that. Go to a good hospital. So, like I was saying, we've talked about placenta previa, talked about multiple babies, talked about large head babies. For example, if your first baby had a large head, the second baby doesn't have to have a large head. So you had a C-section because your first baby had a large head, a big head. If the second baby doesn't have a big head, do you still need a C-section? Do you still need to have a C-section? The answer is no. The answer is no. So don't listen to myths and false stories where people say, if you start with a C-section, you continue that way. It doesn't work that way. Don't listen to such stories. So another one is placenta previa. The first baby had placenta previa. Does it mean the second baby must have placenta previa? No. That is where that myth becomes wrong. Every pregnancy comes its own style. Every pregnancy comes with its own situation. Every pregnancy comes with its own situation. This first pregnancy, you may have lots of morning sickness. Your morning sickness may be so bad, you need to visit a hospital. This doesn't even have morning sickness. The second pregnancy has its own style, has its own situations, has its own way. Let me put it that way. I hope you guys understand what I'm saying. So it's not a fact that you can even have your first baby naturally. Second baby C-section. It happens all the time. Sorry, I have a slight cough. You can even have your first baby naturally, but your second baby will be C-section. So every pregnancy had its own. Everybody had their style. Every pregnancy style. There's no hard and fast rule to it. No. Especially when the cause of C-section is not how do I put it now? Especially when the cause of C-section is not like innate. You weren't born with it.